Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this section. This live coding section brought to you by Hamoe. My name is Ikupe Success. I'm the senior data scientist at Hamoe, handling the data storytelling craft. So welcome guys to this live coding session. Thank you so much for joining. So at this point, without wasting much of our time, I would like to start sharing the screen. Can you see my screen? Somebody from able to share it.
Yes, you can.
Okay. So today we'll be talking about data curation. Data curation. Today's topic is actually data curation. So curating data extracted from a 10K HTML file. Data curation refers to the process of selecting, organizing, managing, and maintaining and preserving digital data throughout its life cycle. The goal of data curation is to ensure that the data remains accessible, usable, and understandable over time. Data curation is essential in the age of big data, where large volumes of data are generated every day. It involves various tasks such as data collection, data cleaning, data integration, data validation, metadata curation, and data archiving. Here are some key aspects of data curation. Data selection. Let's first talk about it. Data curation begins with the selection of relevant data sources. Like the data relevant sources can be a SEC website, it can be Amazon website, it can be Coca-Cola website. So you have to get the particular source where data should be acquired, the relevant one. So you don't just go to any website and start. You have to look for a website that has the particular data you're looking out for. Of course, you must have an interest of data. You must have a particular data you're looking out for before you know the exact website to visit. That is about data selection, selecting the particular website you extract your data from. Data cleaning. Data cleaning is the process of removing or correcting errors in the data. The data you have extracted from the website, you have to clean it. This includes removing duplicates, records, correcting data entry errors, and fixing inconsistencies. The next one is data integration. Data integration is the process of combining data from different sources. Data integration is the process of combining data from different sources into a single data set. You understand? You go to a website like Amazon or maybe Coca-Cola, you get about 5 data sets that you put them in single. You can use merging. You know how you merge data, you can concatenate data, you can merge data to a single data set. This involves resolving data inconsistencies, mapping data fields, and creating a unified data set. Data validation. Data validation is the process of checking the accuracy and the consistency of the data. This involves checking for errors, inconsistencies, and missing data. Then metadata curation. Metadata curation is data that describes other data. Okay, so it's an information, so that's why it's called data. Just like when you have your personal data, you have your name, your age, and all. So it is It is a data that describes other data. You understand? So when you have all of those data put together, you have to create a metadata that is describing the data you extracted from these websites. You understand? So that is what metadata is all about. It includes information such as data source, data format, data structures, and data quality. Okay, so we have to talk about the quality of the data, where you got the data from. Assuming you have gotten it from World Bank, or maybe you got it from Amazon, you got it from Linda Ikeji's page, got it from Twitter. So you have to state the source where you extracted the data from. And you have to talk about the data format, the data structures. Is it how many columns does it have? How many rows does it have? You know. So what is the frequency of the data? Metadata creation is an important part of data creation, as it helps to document the data and makes it more discoverable. Like if you have a proper information tagged to your data, the data you've extracted, it will be easy for someone to read from that information. Because from the information, the person will be like, oh, this data has what I need. The person will pull it out from wherever you have kept, maybe from a database, and use it. So data archiving. Data archiving is the process of preserving data for long-term access. This involves storing data in a secure and accessible format, creating backups, and ensuring that the data remains accessible over time. Data archiving, I repeat, is the process of preserving data for long-term access. To access it for a long time, like people can go into that place, the database where you saved your data, and read the information, the metadata, and feel like, okay, because the person will definitely read metadata of different big data. So from the information will determine which particular data the person is looking for. So data curation is a crucial aspect of data management, as it ensures that data is of high quality. Yes, it's of high quality, because a quality data will determine the kind of data analysis you're going to do. It will determine the type of model you're going to build. It will determine the kind of insights you're going to create. So that is all for now. So it remains inaccessible over time and can be used for future research. So moving forward, I'm going to show you how I extracted my own data from a website. So I installed the package. Then I imported some of the modules and the necessary libraries of Python. Then this is so this is the URL of the website where I got my data. So if we actually highlight this particular website now and put it on the search box, it will bring out all kinds of data, all kinds of tables, all kinds of tables and all. So what I did is that let me open the website. These are all tables. You see all the tables in the data. This is a table. This is a table. These are all tables in this data. So, and all these tables, they come with their different index. So you use this index to access them. Use this index to call them in your Jupyter notebook, or maybe your Google Colab and all. So the first thing I did was that I used pd.read_html, a function from pandas, to read this URL. So when I read it, I called the variable the name is stored in this variable data set. So I called it, and this is what it brought out for me. So this is the first table here. That's the index 1. Index 0, I mean, this is index 1. This is index 2. This is index 3. This is the index 4. So, you use the index of this particular data to access them into your Jupyter notebook. So the next thing is that I've accessed my data set. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want to check the length. I want to count all the tables in that website. So looking at this place now where my cursor is, this particular place where my cursor is. So I check the length of the data set of the tables, right? This is what it called 235. It means that we have about 235 tables. So that means if I want 235 tables, I will get 235 data sets, going to get them. And once I'm done getting them, I will curate it. I will write a metadata about all the data sets I've done. Perhaps even if I don't join them together, I can put them in a particular database so that to be easy to access them all, to be accessible. So the first one I wanted to get was data sets, and the index is 81. So this function here is to get the data set. Then after getting the data set, and I did financial report.head. I want to see the head 10, the head of my data set, and this is what I have. So you can see that all the columns they all tripled. They all tripled. Let me show you the table on the website. All the columns they tripled. I'm going to show you where I go. I think I just surpassed it. So this is the data set I intend getting, this particular one, and the index is index 81. So when I return, then I can see that all the columns are being tripled, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to write another code to select the columns I'm looking for. So I selected 3, I selected 7, 13, 19, 25, 31. So after selecting it, I said, oh, let me check out what I selected. So if you run the variable name, you see what I have selected. You can see that in the 0 and 1, they all have non-values, which is not supposed to be so. Even our columns don't have a name. The name of the column is 3, 7, 13, 19, 25, and 31, which is not appropriate. So the next thing we're going to do is start removing the non-values. The next thing, we identify the non-values and remove them. So use a drop now function to remove the non-values, and when you run that, you see that some of the non-values are no more available. So I kind of drop the columns that have the non-values. So the next thing I did was to rename the column. Okay, so instead of having it as 3 and having it as a number, I rather give it something that can make it more identifiable. So obviously, this is the column 31st December, end of the year column. This is 2021 column, this is 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017 column. So after naming it, I have to realize that this particular year ended December 31st is an issue, and I have to drop this particular row. And when I drop it, I'm going to reset my index so that I will have a proper name. So I'm not just dropping that too, I'm also dropping this particular one, which does not make sense as it's here now. So this particular, so that's like index 16, and this is index 0. So I'm going to use the index to drop all these rows. So this is a function I use to drop all the rows. This is a code. I said financial report dot drop index 0, drop index 16. And doing that, this is what I have. So I have my columns, I have my rows intact. So now look at the index is not appropriate. It's supposed to start from 0 and it's 5 because of the way we drop in the columns and so the way we drop the rows, and that shows the index. So the next thing I'm moving forward to do is that I'm going to remove the index. I'm going to reset the index. And when I reset the index, the old index will still be there. So I'm going to drop it. So dropping the index, I have my data set fully in order. So this process, the data set is undergoing a data cleaning process. So this is where it fits the process now. So when you look at the variables, the data points, of the values of our data set, you find out that there are brackets, C bracket, C comma. These things are not good because by the time you want to plot your, visualize what you have, the Python will start seeing them as strings. Python sees brackets as strings and all, and that's not good. So in a bit to do that, I defined a function. So I said define function, replace function, df and column, where there is character lists, where there is something like this and this, that's bracket open and bracket close. For character in character list, anywhere you see a character that is equivalent to this, please kindly replace it with nothing, with minus. Else, you're also saying that you should replace the character with nothing. That's if there is nothing like that. If the condition up here is not true, you should just replace it with nothing. Don't change anything. It should just be nothing. So now we created a column list, which is equal to the number of the years, column years, that's the numerical column years, right? So you now say, okay, for column in column list, append whatever thing we have here to the financial report data and the column, you understand? So doing that, we now have our data sets. You can see that all those brackets that we replace with a negative sign, all be replaced with a negative sign. So you move forward. If you want to check the data type of this particular data set, you find out that the data type is objects, and you also realize that the comma character too, Python sees it as a string. So what we're going to do before we convert it to float, we need to remove that comma sign. So we now use a replace function to say, okay, anywhere there is comma, replace it with nothing. Regress true equals to true, in place equals to true. So after doing that, we now have to convert it to a float. So this function here is to convert it to a float. So these are the columns we are converted to float, as it should be. So doing that, we now check the data type again, find that it has been converted to float. And that is very interesting. So at this point now, the next we're going to do is record the data set once again to see how it's looking. You can see all the characters have all gone, the brackets, they've all gone, the commas, everything, they've all been cleared. So we now have a proper, neat data set. So at this point now, we can either save it on our local drive or your drive, your cloud drive and all. Whether you save it for future analysis or you visualize it, just as you are instructed to do. Or if you're not instructed to do anything, you can save it for future use. So at this point now, we're going to check the financial report of 2021. So we said here, PS dot histogram financial report is equals to financial reports of 31st December, end of the year column, Y equals to financial reports, a particular year where displaying the report. So at this point, this is the graph we got. You can see the total assets gave the highest number of, we gave lots of money. It shows that total asset had, like when they calculated the number of the asset they had, the money was much higher than other parameters that were calculated. So followed by total investment. Definitely every company must have an investment. So this is the total number of people invested in the company. Then other ones had very lower output. So we don't know why. So this is just a financial report of a particular company. So sorry, this is okay. So the next thing I used a line chart to check plot all the years. They seem to have the same formats, and all the years they seem to have same increase in total assets. You know, total assets for 2021, 2019, 2018, 2017. So they seem to have a peak, a maximum, like at the time the company seemed to have a very increase in financial outcome, mainly on the total assets. It's like their assets are giving them more money than other things, other commodities they sell. So this is, we have followed by total investments. So the higher the investment, the more money they have. So this here level shows all the years. When you scroll down, you see the colors of all the years being represented here. And the reason why this graph is so small is because of the parameters that were calculated, the wordings are so long. So if you were short, this graph would have been very long. And perhaps I should have a setting to make it longer. I won't bother you that, maybe that will be in our next section. So at this point now, moving on, you see, using bar chart, using a bar chart, it's still the same thing. I just viewed it in another chart. So the same thing, total assets having been the highest in the revenue generating revenue. Total assets is the highest, followed by total investments, followed by what's that one? Followed by reverse claim and claim expenses. So I kind of joined everything together, all the years together, using scatter plot. You know, doing that, I have about 5 graphs, 5 charts. So just scroll this up. So this is financial report of 2020. This is it. This is financial report of 2021. This is it. Financial report of 2019. This is it. Financial report of 2018. This is it. Financial report of 2017. So after after being done with that particular data set, I went ahead to still extract another one. So I said DF equals a data set. I used their index. I got another one. So this is the next one I want to extract and conduct clean data preparation. Sorry, data cleaning. So if you check this data now, you see that the columns are being tripled. So I chose the columns that I want, that are really necessary. That's what we call column selection or maybe feature selection. So I chose 4 to 7, 13, 25, 31. So running that, this is my data set now. So this is it. The same way I extracted the first one, I did this one. The same way I cleaned the first one, the same way I'm doing this one now. So I dropped the non-values. Then I renamed the column instead of having the ended December 31st, I renamed it to stock. So I use the same index to drop the columns I don't need, like in the 0 and 18, to drop the rows that I don't need. So at this point now, after extracting this data, it should be saved in my local drive or in my the Google Drive. So then after that, as I've extracted these two different data sets, I can document all the information pertaining to these data sets. That is what we call metadata, as I mentioned earlier. Metadata is actually very, very, very important. Because the information you give to your data, that is what you will use to know the particular data set you have extracted. Imagine if you have lots of data sets in a database, you yourself will be confused because there are no metadata to explain them and to identify them wherever they are. So when you gather a data from a website, or maybe from a website, or maybe from a document, you have to write information of those data sets that you have extracted. It's very important that you do that. So the next thing you do, you write the day, the published date, the date all those informations are being published on this website. On the website where you got the data, right? You're supposed to write the information. Okay, the published date. You have to check it. I know in your mind, if you're asking, how do I know the published date? You will know. You need to get yourself acclimatized to the website. Like you're being given Amazon and Coca-Cola, right? You need to get yourself conversant with the website. So when you've known the website, you should be able to see the published date, the created date, and the modified dates. Please, you have to include that in your project. The created date and the modified date. The modified date and the updated dates, they are alike sometimes. But the created date and the published date, the created date is that the day the data was gathered. Then the published date is the day it was published on the website. Then the modified date is the date that the information were being updated. That kind of some things might have changed in the company, some things might have changed in the data. Maybe there was an increase in parameters measurement, or maybe the company's sales as the year went ahead had increased. So they had to make an update, just like we have 2021, 2020. So this company is supposed to make an update of 2022 financial report, 2023 financial report. So by the time they do that, and you include it in your own data, you not extract this data all over again and include it. You have to include the day you modified your own data, the day you updated your own data from using their own updates. And you have to put their own data updates. I don't know if you understand me. So I'm going to, if I'm to curate the data that I've gotten, I'll write the published date. I'll write the published date. Yeah, so I'll write the published date, then I will write the source of the data. So obviously, as you can see, I got the data from this particular company. So I will say, okay, I got it from so company, you understand? Then I will now write the last time that this data was modified. As I'm saying, if you get yourself conversant with the website, you know the last time they modified it. So you have to talk about the frequency of the data. Is it an annual data, or is it a monthly data? Is it a, a daily data, or is it an hourly data? You know, we need to check it. So from here now, you can see that it's a yearly data, because they calculate their annual financial reports. This is their annual financial reports. You want to know their premium rating, the premium and investment income, how much they get out of investment. This is the annual income calculation or analysis. You understand? So you talk about the features. You can say, okay, it has how many features? It has this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have about 7 features, and we talk about the rows, how many rows the data set have. So what is the name of the data set? Financial report of company. Okay. And when you get yourself conversant with the website made available to you, you will know the name of the data set, you know what you're looking at for. So this information you provide above will serve as a guide for reusability, and availability and credibility of this data you've gathered. So anyone can easily use it for data analysis, to build models. Even people in your company can easily use it and conduct analysis, and even create insights, build visualizations, you know, so that, most times when you build visualization and keep, when people see the visualization, they will be like, oh, this particular data has a good prospect. It will be good for this analysis, because seeing how it turned out in this visualization, so it actually correlates with what I'm looking for. It helps them know which particular data you need to pick. Because when you have a big data, you definitely don't know which one to pick. Everything is very confusing. So you need to be specific in your metadata. So that way you can be able to manage your data very well. So I cannot be able to share data curation totally to you right now, because I want you to, I've already done the little I can, how to extract data from the website, from the documents, and all. So what you need to do, you need to make your own research to get more information on how you're going to curate your data. And please, I want to see the information of your data, the published dates, the source of the data, modified date, the frequency, the features, and what's the name of the data. Okay, please, I need it to be, you need to outline it on your document. I need to see it, even if you don't put it in your document, you put it on your Google Colab, or maybe, yes, on your Google Colab notebook. You should create out, create out a cell where you write the metadata of the data you have extracted, the information of the data you have extracted, the metadata of the data extracted. If you have a question, please, I'm out for question. Ask me your question. If you have a question, kindly send the chat, I will answer. Can you hear me? Any question? Okay, someone is asking, what is the difference between metadata and data dictionary? Okay, thanks for the question. Just as I have explained before, the metadata is writing the information about your data. Metadata is the information that describes other data, as I mentioned earlier. It provides context and structures to data, and it helps users understand what the data means, where it comes from, and how it is related to other data. Metadata can include information such as data type, field size, data created, author, versions, and data source, I've mentioned earlier. So while a data dictionary, on the other hand, is a comprehensive catalog of all the data elements that are used in a database or a data system. It provides detailed information about each data element, such as its name, definition, data type, format, and allowable values. So a data dictionary can also include information about relationships between data elements, such as foreign keys, primary keys. When you talk about data dictionary, you talk about structured query language. They have primary keys, they have secondary keys, they have foreign keys. And those keys are used most times to merge data. You understand? So data dictionary talks about the comprehensive catalog of all the data elements. So it talks about the elements of the data that are used in the database or data system. It provides detailed information about each data element, such as the name, its name, definition, data type. Yes, because if you're talking about the data type, like it talks about whether the data is an integer, whether the data is a float, whether the data is a string, whether the data is an object. That is where data dictionary goes. It goes deep to talk about the data, to talk about the variables, the elements, the data types. While metadata just talks about published date, source of the data, modified date, frequency. So both of them kind of work hand in hand. So right now we are dealing on metadata, not data dictionary. So when you're curating, when you're talking about data curation, you talk about the metadata. Then data dictionary, you can do that one. Yeah, it's part of it. So you understand. Data dictionary provides a detailed catalog of all the data elements used in the database. So you talk about this when you talk about the database and you talk about the elements used in that database. So, and both of them are very important. Yes, both of them are very important for data management and analysis. Yes, because if I know that the data I'm using has only objects, only strings, I won't like to pull it from that database. So data dictionary helps me to know the information to the core, the details of my data. So both of them are very important. Both of them are very important. Why? The metadata will just tell you published date, source of the data, okay, how many rows, how many columns, what is the frequency and all. So both of them are very important in data management and analysis. Thank you for that question, because it will help others to know more, know more on what we are talking about. So any other question? I hope I've answered your question. Aderomi Adeni. Please, if I've answered your question, please kindly send a yes message. Yes or no. You're welcome. So any other question? So I will advise you kindly go back and watch how to extract data from the website you are told to do to extract data from. And please make sure that those websites made available for you, you extract data from them. Don't go and put data from someone else and give and bring. It will fail you. You won't get any score when you do that. Please make sure you obey the instructions and use the data set, the website, the HTML document made available for you. Please use it so that you won't have issues during the grading. Obey the instructions and everything will be fine. So in the absence of no questions, I'm going to call it a day. Please kindly go back and watch this webinar again. This live police session, watch it again. Tell your friends the same department with you to watch it so that they can gain clarity on what to do. It's very important to do the right thing. Thank you for joining and do have a beautiful day.